Graives and Sutton got the takes. So come on in and gather around. The WrestleRecap podcast starts right now. It's the WrestleRecap podcast. Graives and Sutton got the takes. So come on in and gather around. The WrestleRecap podcast starts right now. It's the WrestleRecap podcast. Graives and Sutton got the takes. So come on in and gather around. The WrestleRecap podcast starts right now. Starts right now.
Welcome to WrestleRecap. I am Dylan Graives. Once again, going to be flying solo here. But I got the Raw recap to get through here tonight. It is nighttime. SmackDown is actually already completed as I am first getting to this on Friday. It has been a busy week. I'm not here to bore you with the details of my week, though. So we're going to get right on into this recap. However, before we do that, I kind of lied there for a second. We're not going to get right into it because if you want to support WrestleRecap, you can like, share, and subscribe. You can comment down below. Let us know how we're doing. But with that being said, now we're going to get right into it. Raw was live this week from Amaranth Bank Arena in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And SmackDown superstar Randy Orton kicks off the show. Glad the brand split means anything, you know. Randy comes out and he addresses Gunther's remarks last week. But Gunther interrupts him fairly quickly into things. Gunther tells Randy and everyone there that the only thing he needs them to do is shut up and listen to what he's got to say. At this point, and prior to this, the crowd makes it incredibly hard for him to talk. They're giving him the Dom Mysterio treatment. Gunther wants to know what Randy is celebrating about. And he tells Randy to celebrate the RKO that he hit last week, because all he did was make this very personal. Says the guy who brought Randy's family up last week. Come on now. It was made personal last week. Let's get our facts straight here, Gunther. Come on. The crowd starts chanting USA at Gunther, which, whatever. Gunther tells them that they only have 3 brain cells. I believe that was like a collective thing, not an individual. I believe it's 3 brain cells collectively. Maybe it's individual, I don't know. It's Florida, so it's probably a collective 3 brain cells. Gunther tells Randy that he's never going to hit him with another RKO ever again. And Gunther says that he's going to leave Randy a bloody mess in Berlin and leave him exposed as a very successful yet underachieving one-trick pony. Gunther squares up, and this leads to Ludwig Kaiser trying to jump Randy from behind, but Randy dispatches of Kaiser, at least for the moment, but in the end, a 2-on-1 assault was just too much for the Viper to handle. So Imperium end up standing tall in the situation. And we then get a flashback to Pete Dunne attacking Sheamus backstage last week. And then Jackie Redmond talks to Sheamus ahead of his match tonight. Sheamus has his hand all taped up from the attack with the shillelagh last week. And Sheamus says that he knows Pete Dunne is going to go after his injured hand. But he's still got more to show these young Thundercats. And Sheamus asks if they're ready for a banger before heading out for his match as we head into a commercial break. Following the break, we get a quick flashback to Imperium attacking Randy before before talking to Sheamus, basically. So, if you missed the first 10 minutes of the show, here's your quick recap. But then it's time for Sheamus versus Pete Dunne, the Bruiserweight. No longer called Butch. Don't call him Butch. It was stupid to begin with. Huge fan of the return of Pete Dunne. If you've listened to any of our other episodes, which, hey, most of you haven't. I'm aware of that. Most of you are already clicked off. But on the off chance that someone has stuck around this long, I am a rather decent-sized Pete Dunne fan. I watched NXT UK. I was one of the sickos, one of the weirdos that actually watched NXT UK. So seeing Pete Dunne go from being dominant to being Butch sucked. Nevertheless, Sheamus goes for a brogue kick right out of the gate, but Dunne dodges it. Sheamus takes Pete Dunne down with a massive clothesline, but Dunne takes control briefly until Sheamus hits him with an Alabama slam. Sheamus goes for 10 beats of the Bowron, but Dunne dodges. Dunne begins to target Sheamus' injured hand. Obviously, the joint manipulation very prominent in Pete Dunne's offensive game. Pete Dunne goes for a submission, but Sheamus turns it into a modified Irish curse backbreaker powerbomb. Looked like it hurt to take. Very much so did that look like it had to hurt to take. Sheamus sends Pete Dunne to the outside, and Dunne takes control as Sheamus tries to re-enter the ring following their trip outside. And that leads us into the commercial break. When we come back from the break, Pete Dunne has control, and Sheamus kinda hulks up before asking Pete if that's all he's got, Butch, or is it bitch? Obviously, Pete Dunne did not take kindly to those words. He hits Sheamus with a massive forearm. Sheamus fights back into it, though, and goes for the 10 beats, but Dunne counters it with his own 10 beats. Dunne then taunts the crowd, where we get then the image of Sheamus rising up behind him, like The Undertaker behind AJ Styles. And Sheamus goes on to hit 20 beats of the Bowron. Sheamus goes for the brogue, but Dunne dodges. Dunne hits a step-up enziguri and goes for a moonsault, but Sheamus catches him with a knee for a near fall. Sheamus takes Dunne to the second rope, looking for that avalanche white noise, but Pete Dunne turns it into a sit-out powerbomb for a near fall of his own. Dunne sticks Sheamus' bad hand in the turnbuckle pad and tees off on it. Once the ref backs Dunne up, Sheamus ends up just ripping the pad off to get his hand out of it. And the brief moment of hesitation from Pete Dunne with the ref was all it took, as Sheamus takes him down with a brogue kick to pick up the win. I'm looking forward to this match at the Bash in Berlin. I could see these two go at it every week. I mean, that's a lie. I'd probably get sick of it. But right now, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying seeing Pete Dunne get to be Pete Dunne. I'm enjoying seeing him put on good matches with Sheamus. And I absolutely expect this to culminate with a match at the Bash in Berlin. If it doesn't, it'll feel like a major missed opportunity. But following this, we head backstage with the New Day. Oh, my bad. With the New Day and Odyssey Jones. Once again, long-standing joke among myself and Sutton was that Odyssey Jones was just chilling at home for all these years, making the base salary. And lo and behold, the man, the myth, the legend, the Odyssey shows up and shows out, putting in work with the New Day. And that's exactly what he's here tonight to do. But right now, Kofi and Odyssey, they're pumped up. They're like warmed up. They're high-fiving, jumping around, you know. And Woods, not so much. He's a little bit less than thrilled. Jones takes off, and Kofi stops to talk to Woods about his attitude the last few weeks, seeming like he's not all on board with it. And Woods says that he wishes that Kofi would have talked to him before just bringing in Odyssey Jones, because it feels like Kofi's trying to replace Big E, and Woods doesn't want to do that. Dog, nobody wants that. I want this whole ordeal to culminate with Big E returning. You know what? Put Big E on commentary now that Pat McAfee's gone. Let him come in on commentary on Raw. You know, just work him back in. We have already been told that Pat McAfee's going to be back in January. I know that's a long time to drag this storyline out, but if it culminates in Big E throwing off the headset to being able to perform again and save his New Day brothers, I can live with it. I really could. But that's just me. I just really want to see Big E back in action. It's such a shame what happened. And ultimately, I've said it before, I'll say it again, just want the man to be able to live a pain-free life. Well, as pain-free as a professional wrestler can get. But I'd much rather see the man being able to function normally and not have issues than to rush back and get in the ring after a 20th doctor's opinion who gives him the all good even though he shouldn't be kind of thing. I don't want that. But I absolutely would love for this to lead to the return of Big E as an active performer. He's got them stemmies running through his body. Kofi says that no one can replace E, and it's not about bringing Jones into New Day. Kofi talks about the New Day when they were starting out, and that they're a family, and nothing's going to change that. Kofi says that Odyssey's in the same boat they were in back when they were starting the New Day, and as vets, he was hoping that they could bring him under their wing the way that they wish a vet would have done for them when they were starting New Day and whatnot. Obviously, I've paraphrased that quite a bit. But Kofi was basically a vet when they formed New Day. Like, this man is just like R-Truth. He's ageless. Like, these guys, they've been around forever, but they don't seem like they have been. But following this, we head into a commercial break. And when we come back from the break, we get a vignette from Braun Breaker. And we see Ricochet in the vignette multiple times. Now, for someone who's not with the company, I mean, when does WWE do that? When do they when do they put people in their video packages that are actively not going to sign or signed with the company? Like, someone that would be actively signed to AEW would not be in a video package. So, call me crazy, but that combined with Samantha Irvin's tweet, maybe Ricochet's coming back. Maybe he's not done with WWE like he said he was. But nonetheless, following the vignette, we get a flashback to Ivy Nile talking to Maxine Dupree and the subsequent attack during their during the Alpha Academy versus American Made match last week. We then get an American Made backstage segment, which was kind of pointless, filler. Basically, Gable says that he's proud of Ivy. Words hard. And they all kind of like do a fist bump thing because they're American made. Maxine comes out for the match as we head into the commercial break. Coming back from the break, we get underway with the match, and Maxine hits a drop kick to Madison Ivy before the bell rings and takes the fight to her on the outside. Maxine sends Ivy into the barricade. She suplexes her and sends her across the announce table. But all's for naught as Ivy Nile ends up taking control once they get back in the ring. However, just as Ivy's taking control, the lights go out. The ring fills with smoke, and the Wyatt Six music begins to play. Nikki Cross appears behind Ivy Nile, but Gable and the Creeds are quick to rush to the ring and get in between Ivy and Nikki Cross. But no matter, because Rowan, Gacy, and Loomis appear on the apron, getting the attention of Gable and the Creeds, allowing Nikki Cross to go after Ivy Nile. And the Wyatt Six end up taking out American Made while the crowd chants, "You up." Gable becomes the last person in the ring with the Wyatts, and Uncle Howdy appears behind him and hits him with the Sister Abigail to take us into the commercial break. Following the break, we get a video promo from the Terror Twins, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, talking about the last 2 weeks of dealing with the new Judgment Day and looking ahead to the Bash in Berlin. Following this, CM Punk comes out with a strap around his shoulders, or like around his neck kind of thing, over his shoulders. And Michael Cole kind of lets it slip that it's Pat McAfee's last night on commentary. Again, Big E for Raw commentary team. We could make that happen. WWE, you have the power to make that happen. Give the people what they want. Give Blue Tista what he wants. Punk says that he has very exciting news, but before we get into that, he wants to tell a story. Punk talks about the hot streak the WWE is on and says that it's because of the fans. He then goes in to talk about Fanatics Fest, and he talks about a girl that was there in a wheelchair who he was her inspiration for fighting, and I believe he said that she had beaten cancer. He talks about the people that fly from thousands of miles away just to see him, and it means a lot to him, and I can believe that. Punk he's always been one of them guys that I feel like is probably the prime example of don't meet your heroes because they probably won't live up to your expectations. But that's just his attitude. You got to know that going into it. You can't go into it like, if I remember correctly, he absolutely hates handshakes. Not the Jeffrey Dahmer kind either. So, like, you can't go into it with the mentality of this man is going to be like John Cena. You have to go into it knowing who you're dealing with. And I think it'll be a lot more rewarding for you in the end. But Punk has a handful of bracelets that people have made for him. And he calls himself the Taylor Swift for men. Well, he turns his attention to Drew McIntyre and says that Drew made it personal. Punk says that he made Drew a bracelet, and he takes the strap off of his shoulders and says that he's already cleared it with Pierce. And it's for him and Drew to have a strap match at the Bash in Berlin. The only person who needs to approve it is Drew McIntyre. So say his name, and he appears. Drew McIntyre comes on out. Drew says he's been thinking all week about what he's going to do to Punk after last week. Drew asks Punk if he's started drinking. A strap match? Look at him. Of course he accepts the match. Drew asks if the fans want a little teaser and tells Punk to lose the strap and they can give the fans a show. Punk says he'll give Drew the strap if Drew gives him the bracelet. Drew says no and calls Punk a liar, basically saying that he'll give Punk the bracelet and then Punk will just use the strap on him. Punk says that in Berlin, it won't be him attached to Drew. it'll be Drew that's attached to him. Following this, we get a video promo from Dom and Liv in response to Damian and Rhea. And Dom challenges Damian to a one-on-one match tonight. Dom says he's going to leave the Judgment Day and Liv in the back. Damian can leave Rhea in the back. It'll be mano-y-mano, one-on-one, 1v1 me on Rust, bruh. And, that's probably more Carlito's speed. But then we see the New Day and Odyssey Jones come out for their match before we head into the commercial break. Following the break, we get into the match, that being the New Day and Odyssey Jones, as previously said multiple times, versus the Final Testament. Woods and Cross start the match, but Kofi tags himself in after Cross starts talking some trash to him. Obviously, Woods isn't thrilled about that, but he deals with it. Kofi hits some corner splashes until Cross hits him with an elbow. Scarlett grabs Kofi's foot, allowing Karrion Kross to take advantage as we head into the commercial break. On the other side of the break, the Final Testament still has control over Kofi, and Kross prevents him from tagging out and hits a T-bone suplex before knocking Odyssey Jones off the apron. Kofi dodges Akam's charge, leading to Akam posting himself, giving Kofi time to go for the to tag out. Woods is up on the apron reaching for the tag. Kofi's reaching for the tag, but Odyssey Jones gets back up on the apron and he's closer, so Woods jumps and Odyssey Jones gets the hot tag, much to Woods' dismay. And Odyssey Jones basically just takes down the Final Testament. He hits a headbutt for a near fall with Karrion Kross saving the match, but Kofi takes out Kross with a Trouble in Paradise. Razar just throws Kofi but gets hit by the limit break elbow from Woods, and then Akam takes out Xavier Woods before Jones hits what I believe it was Michael Cole called the Journey's End. I don't know if that's going to be the name of the move or if that's just what Michael Cole was saying, but nonetheless, at this moment, I'm referring to the move as the Journey's End to pick up the win. And then we head backstage where Damian Priest talks to Rhea about his match with Dom tonight, talking about how he knows that it's not going to be a true one-on-one thing, and he's expecting the ambush, so to speak. Following this segment, we get a video tribute package for the other half of the Wild Samoans, who has now joined his brother as Afa Anawai has passed away. And for myself and John Sutton, even though he's not here right now, but we just wish nothing but the best for the family and good vibes, high spirits, all that good stuff. A legacy left behind for sure. Following the tribute package, we head into a commercial break, and when we come back, it is Bronson Reed versus The Miz in a no disqualification match. We get a brief flashback to last week where Bronson Reed was going after The Miz, but R-Truth ended up taking the bullet for him. And then Adam Pearce is standing back in Gorilla with The Miz, and he says that he'd rather just suspend Reed. And the only way he can do that, he can let Miz do this, is if The Miz tells him that he wants this. Miz says that he doesn't know if he wants to do this, but he has to, because Reed took out his friend, that being R-Truth. And Miz says that he don't have many friends there, but he's going to stick up for the ones he's got. So Miz makes his way to the ring, and he rushes the ring. Doesn't take a whole lot of time for his entrance. goes right in there to get after Bronson Reed, but he gets taken down with a clothesline. Miz rolls out of the ring, and he gets a chair and starts hitting Bronson Reed with it on the outside until Reed just knocks the chair out of his hands. The Miz sidesteps, causing Bronson Reed to post himself. Miz begins to fill the ring with weapons. He goes after Reed with a kendo stick, but Reed catches it and breaks the kendo stick before slamming Miz on a trash can and beating him with it. Reed sits down in one of the steel chairs and puts his foot on Miz's head, holding his head to the mat as we head into the commercial break. When we come back from the break, Bronson Reed is charging at the Miz, but Miz sidesteps, causing Reed to run into a chair that was set up in the corner. The Miz hits a tornado DDT onto a chair, but only gets a 1 count out of it, to which I believe Bronson Reed told him, "Don't piss me off." The Miz goes back after him with a kendo stick and hits his corner clothesline, aided by the kendo stick, but he then gets caught in a diving move. Reed goes for the Death Valley driver, but Miz escapes, and Miz attempts a skull-crushing finale through a table that had been set up in the corner, but Bronson Reed counters that and turns it into a Death Valley driver through the table, followed by a tsunami to pick up the win. Reed goes up to hit another tsunami, but Braun Strowman makes the save, and nothing comes of this. What? We have Braun Strowman come down. They just stare each other down, and we head backstage. Apparently, this interview with Sheamus for the second time tonight was so important that we couldn't have Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. Also, we're once again 2/3 of the way there to the Braun, and Bronson match. But I don't know. I'm assuming they're going to have a match next week, or seeing as I'm recording this on Friday, in 3 days. But it just felt weird. It felt like a very abrupt ending to me. I don't know. I could be wrong. Let me know down below. We then head backstage, though, where Jackie Redmond talks to Sheamus. Ludwig Kaiser interrupts, and he asks why we're wasting our time talking to the opening act when they could be talking to the man who's going to main event and beat Randy Orton tonight. Kaiser tells Sheamus that when he's done with Randy, he'll be back for Sheamus. As we head into the commercial break. Following the break, Kathy Kelly talks to Braun Breaker. Braun says that there's a tournament starting next week to name a new #1 contender for his title, and he says that whoever wins is going to get speared through the floor and get the beating of a lifetime. He says a lot more, but paraphrasing, you know. We don't need it word for word. We then head back down to the ring, and it's time for Dominic Mysterio versus Damian Priest. Just like Priest had expected, the Judgment Day tries to jump him when he's making his entrance, but he was ready, so he takes him out one by one. Priest stares down Dom after this, and Rhea has gotten in the ring behind him. So with nowhere to run, Priest takes Dom down, and Rhea goes out to clear the announce table. She sets Dom up for a riptide through the announce table, but Liv makes the save with a steel chair, and the rest of the Judgment Day take out Priest and then hold him down and force him to watch as Liv posts Rhea before throwing her across the announce table. Liv then sends Rhea into the steps and posts her again. All of this on the bad shoulder. Air quotes there, bad shoulder. At least I'm assuming that it's selling of the long-lasting effects from the injury. I'm assuming she's back to full health and not actually dealing with an injury that they're then targeting. You know, one of those suspension of disbelief things. If you know, you know. It's still real to us, damn it. They then continue the assault on Priest in the ring, and Finn hits the coup de grace. Liv hits the Oblivion on Rhea as she's getting back in the ring, and they then hold Priest down, and Dom hits him with a frog splash. The Judgment Day then pile Damian Priest and Rhea up while standing, posing over top of them to take us into the commercial break. Following the commercial break, we get the flashback to what happened right before the break. And then we see backstage the Judgment Day celebrates and cut a promo on Damian Priest and Rhea. We then get a flashback to the number one contenders match for the women's tag titles last week, ahead of the triple threat women's tag title match. That seeing Damage Control or it'll be triple threat. I said that. Words, language, hard. It's late. Bear with me. Damage Control versus Pure Fusion Collective. Okay. Versus Unholy Union. Obviously, Unholy Union, the defending champions. Damage Control takes control to start the match. And Kairi Sane and Io basically botch an over-the-top rope move that was intended to, I'm assuming, be like Io sending Kairi Sane over the top rope to take out Shayna and Zoe. But Kairi Sane ends up landing on the rope. She then flips herself over. So it works out in the end. But you could tell that that was not the intended move. And then Io takes out Unholy Union as we head into another commercial break. When we come back from the break, Zoe Stark has control over Kairi Sane, and Sonya lands a cheap shot. Kairi Sane hits a DDT on Zoe Stark before Io cleans house and uses Stark to kick Baszler. It was a pretty interesting move. Zoe goes for a kick, but Io stops it and then just throws her foot into Shayna's head. Io hits a springboard missile drop kick to Isla and Stark. And Io takes everyone out with a pair of bullet train attacks while she's got the other two teams stacked up, two in each corner. Elba Fire fights back into it, but Kairi Sane and Io Sky maintain control. Damage Control hits a superplex on Elba Fire for a near fall with Isla Dawn saving the match. And the match then breaks down before Kairi Sane spears Elba Fire. Shayna and Zoe come in to take control after this, but Kairi Sane takes them out with a crossbody. Sane and Baszler trade strikes, and Shayna locks in the Karafuda clutch, but Kairi Sane escapes and hits the insane elbow, but Dawn had tagged in before she jumped, so Unholy Union hit their backstabber swanton combo on Shayna and Kairi Sane to pick up the win and retain their WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Aside from the botch, wasn't a bad match. I was surprised at Damage Control dominating pretty much the entire match. But all in all, I mean, the early botch aside, it was a solid match. Following the match, we head into a commercial break. And when we come back, Jackie Redmond is talking to Jey Uso backstage because we got to get our weekly dose of yeet. Jay says that Sammy isn't here because he just needed to take some time off and pick himself up. Jay said that Sammy told him that just because he ain't champ doesn't mean Jay can't be. So Jay announces his entry his participation in the Intercontinental Championship number one contenders tournament. Yeet. And following this, Michael Cole officially announces that Pat McAfee is leaving for a few months for the football season. mainly because Pat McAfee is a host on College Game Day, so obviously that's going to require his attention. They show us a video package of McAfee's highlights from the year, and of course it's all comedy gold. Pat says that he'll be back in a few months, and Michael Cole says that McAfee will be back in January when Raw goes to Netflix. So, what is that? 5 months? Let's see, we're end of August, so we got September, October, November, December. Yeah, 5 months. 4 months, technically, because he'll be back starting in January. So, for those that don't like Pat McAfee on commentary, now's your chance. You get your break from him. Hopefully we get Big E. I'm not holding my breath on it, though, but I would love it. And then we get Pat McAfee back so that him and Michael Cole can splooge over Jey Uso. We then run through what's been made official for next week. Obviously, Braun Strowman versus Bronson Reed. I said it was probably going to happen. It is. The number one contenders tournament starts, and Uncle Howdy will take on Chad Gable. And then Randy Orton comes out for his match as we head into the commercial break. Getting into the match, Randy takes control to start, but Kaiser lands a chop, but Randy just takes him down with a punch and a fall-away slam. Randy hits a few uppercuts and his corner-mounted punches, and Kaiser tries to take control on the outside, but Randy just shuts him down. Randy's in firm control until Gunther appears at ringside, causing the distraction and allowing Kaiser to take control and hit Randy with a backdrop onto the announce table. Obviously one of Randy's signature moves. Kaiser sends Randy into the stairs and hits his drop kick around the ring as we head into the commercial break. When we come back, Kaiser still has control, and he hits some stomps to Randy's injured leg before Randy sends him out of the ring. However, Kaiser still manages to maintain control. Kaiser goes for another drop kick around the ring, though, and can't go back to the well too many times. And in this case, you can't go back to it at all, because Randy catches him with a clothesline and hits 4 backdrops onto the announce table while turning to look at Gunther between each one. Randy goes for the draping DDT, but Kaiser hits him with a hot shot and a step-up kick for 2. Randy manages to hit the draping DDT, and I missed something here. Kaiser goes up top, but Randy meets him up there and hits him with a superplex. Randy then hits the draping DDT and sets up for the RKO, but Kaiser rolls Randy up, but only gets a 2 count out of it. Randy hits the RKO to pick up the win after this, and then Gunther rushes the ring, and him and Randy brawl to end the show. Overall, I think Randy's going to make a good first opponent for Gunther. It allows them to clean up the mess of King of the Ring. It gives Gunther a credible opponent for his first title defense with a valid reason for challenging. And all around, this whole story incorporating Ludwig Kaiser still being able to stand on his own 2 feet, but also contribute to Gunther's story. I'm enjoying the way that they're working this in. It's another match that I'm looking forward to. The King of the Ring match was great, aside from the ending. And I'm looking forward to this match on the Bash in Berlin card. I feel like I end up saying that to a lot of the matches on all of the PLE cards. But I don't know, I'm liking the storytelling that we're getting right now. I know I quit watching for a while because it was just a whole lot of wash, rinse, and repeat. Just change the names and faces. But at least for the time being, we're still seeing some fresh and new things. Obviously, it's not going to last forever, but we're certainly going to enjoy it while we still can. And with that, that concludes the Raw recap. Once again, I've been Dylan Graives, flying solo on this Raw recap. This has been WrestleRecap. And if you want to support WrestleRecap, you can like, share, and subscribe. You can comment down below and let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you think of that new intro song. I mean, I worked a solid, 5 minutes on that. Thank you very much. I don't know how long it's actually going to last. I'm not necessarily keen on it repeating 3 times over. I feel like that's a bit too much. But we're going to roll with it for now, at least, until I take the time to maybe make a better one. I literally just threw that together before starting to record tonight. But it is now getting very close to my bedtime, so I will be editing this tomorrow on Saturday, August 24th. And I will then promptly upload it while I watch SmackDown, because I didn't do that tonight. And hopefully we get that recorded Monday. I'm hoping. Nonetheless, you can click the floating video that's on the screen here. It's supposed to be like the best recommended one for you. Fortunately, I'm not very creative with thumbnails. I'm not into clickbaity stuff. I mean, the best I got is maybe a clickbaity title here or there. But, so I mean, the thumbnails are all going to look the same. I apologize that they don't catch your eye. But I'm also not out here trying to mislead with things. Now I'm just rambling, so I'm going to get out here. I'm probably going to go to bed. By get out of here, I mean I'm going to get up from my desk and go to the room next door and go to bed. You didn't need to know that, but now you do. Have a good night. We'll see you next time.